In this video, I'm going to demonstrate creating a transmission event and adding known contacts to it for a case investigation. In this example, it'll be using COVID-19. The pre-work for this workflow would be to already have identified your case in FIMS and the known contacts that you would like to link to the particular investigation. So starting with the case investigation in context, you would want to navigate to the exposure summary screen. I selected it on the left-hand navigation menu. Here you can review if there are any existing transmission events already existing for this case, which for this particular instance, there are none. Then to navigate to the exposure quick entry screen, click the exposure quick entry button. On this screen, the quick entry screen, you'll enter details about the transmission event, the list of known contacts to link, and then information that will be used to create the contact investigations for all the linked contacts. First, give your transmission event a name, and then if you know it, the transmission start and end dates, and then select the appropriate responsible organization. In the exposure location section, fill out what you can with the location name, setting type, and setting. Then in the middle section, this is where we will add the known contacts, and we can add them two different ways, using this small client search find component or by using cohort, and that would be using this add contact list button. So first, I'll demonstrate using the client search. Here you can search by last name or client ID. So when you're type in a last name, you'll start to see matching results. Just click the one that you would like to add and you can repeat this process. You can also type in a client ID and your client will appear. And then if you want to search by FIN, first make sure you add everyone that you've already selected in the box by clicking the Add button. Now you can see we're starting a little table here of known contacts. So if you want to search by FIN, you have to select health card number from the search box, and then you would start typing in the client's FIN. Once you get the FIN entered, the client will appear. You can select them and then just click the Add button to add them to the list. Then if you want to use a cohort to add additional clients, you can do that by clicking the Add Client List to the Known Contacts list. So here, had you previously created your cohort and given it an appropriate name, you should see it in the drop list of cohort name, and then just select that client list name. And then there's a select button to the right, just click that and it will add all the clients in the cohort as known contacts. So here's your new list and you'll notice there's a message here. If you had already added a client that happened to also be in the cohort, this screen is smart enough to recognize that and it will not add them twice. So the next thing to do is double check whether you want to create brand new contact investigations and acquisition events for all the known contacts, or for those that have existing investigations, you may want to link to them so that extra contact investigations aren't being created for everybody. So for those clients that have existing investigations already, you'll see them in the investigation drop list. And what shows in here is it shows the investigation ID, the disease, the current classification, and then the reported date. So what you want to do, so for this one is a case, so I'm going to choose new so that this particular client branch, Bobby, gets a new contact investigation. And then for Darla, we can see that it's a COVID-19 contact investigation that was within the range of this particular case exposure. So I'm just going to keep that investigation there. So what would happen is an acquisition event will be created and just will reuse, it'll link the existing contact investigation that Darla branch has. And then again, there's only one other client that has an existing investigation, contact investigation, which is Layla Leaf, and it looks like it could also be the same exposure. So perhaps you've already done this and reviewed the contact records to figure out which ones you'll be linking and which ones you'll be creating new contact investigations for. In the case of Layla Leaf, this particular contact investigation already has an acquisition event, and you can see that she hasn't been linked to a source, but that there's an acquisition event here of Big Box, the Big Box warehouse. So I'm going to select even the existing acquisition event, which for whatever reason wasn't tied to the transmission event. So this will make this particular transmission event for our COVID case the source for that acquisition event. Everybody else that has new and new in these drop lists will get a net new contact investigation and acquisition event, and everybody will be linked back to the source case that I have in context, who is Barb Grass, and then investigation 662. That is our source investigation. So the final piece, after you've entered your TE details, entered your exposure location information, added your known contacts either by searching or using the cohort, then you've reviewed the list to decide if everybody is getting new contact investigations or whether some should reuse and link. And then the final piece is at the bottom here, which is where, because some contact investigations are going to be created, we need to provide the information in order for the system to create those contact investigations. So the information here at the top is copied from the case investigation. So the disease, the provincial authority, they're all given contact person under investigation classifications and the date, which is today. And then you can type in the reporting source. I'm going to say named as contact. And then what you would do is make sure the responsible organization is correct and choose a work group. Make sure the investigator organization is correct and choose the work group. If the disposition of pending is not correct, choose the right one. And then you would make sure the report date received is appropriate on the day you receive the forms. And then we click save. So like I say, clicking save will create the transmission event. It'll create all the contact investigations based on this information for our list of known contacts or link for the ones we've chosen to do that. And then it will display for us the exposure summary screen. So I'll click save. And here we are. It does give us a message that the transmission event and associated contacts were successfully created. So you can see we're still here in the source case of Grass Barb and her investigation 662. The transmission event that was created is ID 119. And if you click the plus button right to the left, you can see all of the contacts that we linked to this particular transmission event. Now, if you're reading the QRC, if you used and decided to link to existing investigations, there may be additional work to update the disposition and disposition date and ensure the investigator of that investigation is aware of the new transmission event. So, for example, you can see that these were the two. We set the disposition to everything to pending, but you can see that these were already existing, follow-up in progress. So what you could do from here, you could navigate into those investigations and update the disposition and date if required, and then also advise the investigator so that they are aware of the new TE.